Welcome to Broken Wings Becomes Fixed. My name is Megan and I'm 15 years old. This channel is designed to give you, teens of all ages, encouragement, share our faith in God, and talk healings, miracles, prayers, and more. Thanks for joining me. Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about a form of prayer that I learned about a year and a half ago, sometime around there, and I'm super excited, so let's get to the video. So we're going to be learning 4 steps to prayer. This type of prayer I call the flow. So the flow is otherwise known as journaling, or some people have other names for it. I can't really think of any at the moment, but it's really powerful, and it's a great way to pray, and it's how I do prayer all the time, and it's become really helpful and impactful in my life, and I thought that it might be helpful and impactful to yours too. So the first step is quieting your mind. To quiet your mind, you have to, stop thinking about things like maybe I have a paper due, or maybe I'm in a fight with a sibling, or maybe there's like a mess in the room and I can't get it out of my head. So the first step before doing everything is just quiet your mind. Just free your mind of all things, just stop thinking about things, because what really stops us from good prayer time is being distracted by this or that. And I find myself being very distracted pretty often when I'm praying. If we're just doing the Our Father, the Hail Mary, stuff like that, you can get really distracted easily, whether it's siblings playing with toys, or the washing machine, or the dishwasher, or, stuff like that. So to just quiet your mind. Step 2 is to picture yourself with Jesus. How do we know who we're praying to if we can't see them in our mind? So picture yourself with Jesus, whether it's in your room, sitting next to you, in a field, at the beach, pretty much anywhere where you feel most comfortable. Usually I picture just maybe a scene in the Bible, or I like picturing him just sitting next to me wherever I'm doing my prayer. And it just really helps you to just kind of see that, yes, this is God who I'm talking to. You don't have a right or wrong version of what God looks like. God looks like to you who you think he looks like. So step 3 is to say, "Come, Holy Spirit," or there's another one that I can't think of. But to just invite the Holy Spirit into invite the Holy Spirit into your prayer, because a lot of times we kind of just leave the Holy Spirit out. It's yeah, he's a dove, whatever, but the Holy Spirit is so amazing and so powerful, and we have to invite him into our prayer. It really helps us see and hear better. Whenever I say, "Come, Holy Spirit," it's like I'm underwater and I come up for air, and it's wow, I can hear so much clearer rather than muffled voices. It's wow, I can really hear. 4 is to just write down any spontaneous thoughts you hear. So, for example, usually I ask a question, or I'm like, just like, God, what do you want me to hear? So, like, for example, a question might be, what are some lies I'm believing? And you just listen and write down any spontaneous thoughts you hear. Usually once you start writing, it's really like you just kind of like take off. Don't think about anything. Don't overthink it. Don't be like, I don't know if that's me, because it is God. It's really God. When I first started out, it was really hard for me to like be like, I don't know if that's me or my bias, but you want to pray from the heart. You really want to pray from the heart, because praying from the heart is how you don't want to pray from your head. If you pray from your head, it's so much harder. So really pray from your heart, and write down anything that you hear. Write down any visions. I've gotten so many visions, and once you start like doing this, it's just gonna become easier and easier and easier, to the point where like you quiet your mind, you think of Jesus, and immediately like you go into that state of prayer. Like I've pretty much trained myself to, whenever I hear like Christian music, I like go into that state, like, yes, it's time. And it's really like the flow has really been very impactful in my life. So just a few examples of my flowing time. In my last video, I asked my mom some questions about prayer, and those questions I got from the flow. Like, I was like, God was like, this is the next YouTube video that I want you to do. These are the questions I want you to ask. And I was like, okay. So I did it. Like, I myself didn't come up with those questions. God told me to do. Another example is, God told me to start this YouTube channel. Like, I would not have started this YouTube channel if God didn't tell me to. Like, a couple months ago, I was like, hey mom, can I start a YouTube channel? And she was like, what are you gonna do your YouTube channel about? And I was like, I don't know, like DIYs, or I love baking, and I love photography, and I was like, maybe I can mix them up a little bit, some photography hacks and baking hacks, and she's like, no, that like what would you do? And I was like, maybe I don't have that much experience as I thought I did. And one day I was actually down here. This is in our basement. Lovely artwork. And I was just like sitting in this chair, and I was just kind of like thinking, like, God, what do you want me to do during this quarantine time? Like, what should I do that will help fulfill like my prayer, like help me get better at prayer, like maybe spread some faith. How do I spread faith when we're quarantined? And it was almost like he was screaming at me. He was like, bam! I want you to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, what? I don't know. I am not technologically skilled. I can work my digital camera better than I can my phone. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like not at all technologically skilled. My technological abilities are lacking severely. Like, it's really like I have no. Okay. Anyway, so when he said this, I was like, what? And then he's like, so I'll tell you what you're gonna do. And so I was like, okay. So he's like, first I want you to do your testimony, then I want you to do this, then I want to. So I have like a list of like 6 things. And then I have a friend who also gave me an example. So that's like the whatever video. And I'm like, wow, like this is how like you want me to do. So yeah. Example. So I actually gave my testimony to my school. Well, it was like the upper half, because it's K through 12th. I stood up in front of like 6th grade through 12th grade and a ton of teachers and a bunch of parents, including my mom, and I gave my testimony, and it was so nerve-wracking, like the scariest thing like I've ever done. And it was like all these people kept coming up to me, and they were like, wow, you did such an amazing job, like that's so like cool. And I was like I wouldn't have the courage to do it, like if God didn't tell me to, because it's like if God tells you to do something, you do it. You gotta listen, because obedience is very important when it comes to God. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned how to do this, to do the flow, and please comment down below and tell me how your experience was with the flow, because I would love to hear, and I would love to hear people's, insights, because you're not always going to understand what you get. But maybe looking at it from a different perspective, it's great, Like and subscribe. I know I've had a little bit of trouble with the subscribe button, and I'm working on that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Also, I'll be posting a new video every Tuesday. Have a great day.